Republicans want to undo Democrats' marquee legislation to invest in America, advance energy security, and reduce the deficit. That is the agenda Speaker McCarthy believes is worth threatening default. Now, the good news. The good news is that President Biden has asked the four leaders in our teams to sit down and begin talking about where we can agree on budget and appropriations. Our staffs will be having conversations beginning today that are part of the regular appropriations process. Now, Speaker McCarthy will have plenty of say over the budget in the appropriations process. That is the proper place to have these debates, not during conversations about the full faith and credit of the United States. When President Trump was in office and I was minority leader, I hated the Trump tax cuts on the rich and what it did to my state and my country. I could have easily said, I am holding default hostage unless we repeal the Trump tax cuts, unless we undo the Republican signature issue. But of course I didn't do that because I knew the consequences of default would be too severe. But Speaker McCarthy is doing the same thing. He is taking our signature issue, one of the leading ones, the IRA, and holding it hostage, saying he is tying it to default. So, again, Speaker McCarthy must commit to taking default off the table, and we will continue to have a separate conversation with Republicans about the budget. And as I said, and as everyone knows, the Speaker has plenty of say over the appropriations process. He won't be left out. And if the Speaker wants to be honest, by the way, about the drivers of debt, he should take a cold, hard look at the damage caused by Republican tax cuts. Next week, the Senate Budget Committee, led by Chairman Whitehouse, will hold a hearing focused precisely on how GOP cuts have been primarily responsible for increasing the debt-to-GDP ratio. I thank Chairman Whitehouse and members of the committee for their continued work on exposing the GOP's destructive policies. The committee will make it clear. Much of the debt came at the insistence of Republican President, the Republican senators, the Republican House members. But only now, with the Democratic president, does McCarthy do this awful, awful, dangerous gambit.
What is going on, friends? Officials have just announced that the meeting between President Biden and congressional leaders has been canceled. Some lawmakers are considering allocating unused relief funds towards monthly benefit payments if a debt default does occur. This would prevent delayed delivery of monthly checks. My dearest friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video to hear about all of the new details. Also, tomorrow, I will be announcing several winners for the $75 Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. Leaders in Congress have just told reporters that the meeting that was planned for Friday between President Biden and top congressional officials regarding the debt ceiling has been postponed until next week. The delay came amid intensifying concerns about the looming deadline for averting a default on the U.S. debt, with both liberal and conservatives beginning to balk at the emerging outlines of a potential deal. Biden was expected to huddle with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. All the leaders already met this Tuesday with only weeks left before what the Treasury Department has warned would be a June 1st deadline to raise the nation's debt limit. House Speaker McCarthy told reporters the White House did not cancel the meeting. All the leaders decided it was probably in the best of our interest if staff continued working before officials met again. Economists say failure to reach an agreement on the debt limit could spark a global financial crisis and send the United States economy into a recession, putting great pressure on lawmakers to act quickly. Congress may have only a few short weeks to raise the maximum amount that the Treasury Department can borrow before the federal government runs out of funds. Government officials said that this could happen as soon as June 1st or sometime in early June. Congressional staff and administration officials met for about 2 hours today to discuss a potential agreement as the parameters of a deal increasingly come into focus. Lawmakers have eyed a deal that would both raise a debt limit and enact new limits on federal spending, and may include measures such as permitting reform to spur energy production. But still, critics on both sides of the aisle have already been pushing back on the potential compromise. For instance, GOP Representative Dusty Johnson said that most Republicans would oppose new caps on federal spending that only last 2 years. And Representative Garrett Graves, the appointed leader of the GOP debt talks internally, said that raising the debt limit until 2025, as Democrats want, would also be a tough thing for Republicans to accept and would require Biden to accept a large amount of cuts. But it may prove difficult for the White House to accept changes on the order of the magnitude that Republicans are demanding. Biden was adamant that he would not reward GOP demands over the debt limit with substantial concessions on policy, and liberals will likely be upset if he agrees to long-term budget cuts. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts on this news? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Top Republicans regard the idea of rescinding unspent crisis emergency money. It's an amount estimated to be between $50 billion and $70 billion, as an easy way to save money while also avoiding more politically perilous options like cutting funding for popular federal programs. But going after the leftover money scattered across a patchwork of government programs used to dole out the relief funding, dozens of different accounts, is easier said than done. And even if House Republicans can find a way to identify and get their hands on the comparatively small sums of leftover money, it would do little to shrink the nation's $1.4 trillion deficit. The challenges around what has widely been considered one of the simplest options underscore how difficult it will be for the party to meet the lofty goals of Republican leaders laid out at the beginning of this year. They have already abandoned their aspiration of balancing the federal budget in 10 years and have been unable to reach consensus on freezing spending levels and other cuts that would shave down the deficit without touching Medicare or Social Security. Well, my marvelous and magnificent friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for today. Thank you, dear friends, for being here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners tomorrow for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter the giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances, friends, of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed Thursday.